Hi, it's Erica from Mocha Mama on Fire, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about my 2020 recap, my money wins and milestones for the end of the year, share some of my reflection, and give you a net worth update, like sneak peek. On my channel, I talk about my path to financial independence as a family of three, raising a child with special needs. Let's get into it. And Happy New Year. May 2021 be even better, much better than 2020 for most of us. So my personal wins, I want to jump right into it. So let's go into how my financial journey is being shared and discussed. It's based on my individual plans, the income that I bring in, my personal expenses outside of my husband and our total household. So I'll say you have a 50% look into what our household income is. But for me, because my goal is to replace my portion of our household income through passive investments so that I can focus on my why, which is raising our autistic son. I want to be able to expose him to travel through world schooling and also launch other entrepreneurial endeavors. So as you can see, our money is really his, hers, and then ours. So talking about my personal wins is just that, my personal wins. So the income that I brought into the family this at the end of 2020 was $60,555. The total expenses that I had that were fixed, as well as some variable ones that attribute to me or half of the household, was $24,530. The debt that I paid off, which I'm very proud, was $28,221. And in that debt, that encompassed collections, a judgment that I had, credit card debt, and what was the other one I had? I can't think. Personal loans. There it is. So all of that encompasses that. I pay that off. I am now officially consumer debt free outside of my car and student loans. And I'll talk about my student loans in a little bit. So overall, I was able to still make some savings while paying off that debt. I saved $7,800. And how I save that is through various accounts, including a 401k, a Roth IRA, a individual brokerage account, and of course my own savings and CDs to have for an emergency fund. So my 2020 milestones and how I was able to reach those numbers that I shared earlier. I earned a bonus at work and was promoted to a new division within my corporation that I work for. I was able to reduce my personal expenses to $25,000 a year. So that's where you saw how my expenses were, just under that. I paid off collections, judgments, and credit card debt. I was able to still have a savings rate of 13% of my income. I built a 1-month emergency fund of $2,500. I reached a total investment balance goal of $15,000. So of course it's not mine to say my first year of investing in my retirement accounts. It's actually my second. I started rebuilding it in 2019. So to see it now amass to $15,000, that was a big goal for me to see. So I was happy to reach that. And overall, my investment portfolio performed at 13%. So I want to share with you 3 of the milestones that I'm most proud of in 2020. The first is my positive net worth. So as shared, I paid off $28,221 of consumer debt. And with that payment of that consumer debt, it brought me over to I have a positive net worth. Now I have a star on that because I decided not to include my student loans in the calculation. I consider it a fixed monthly bill that I pay on every month, just as I would my utilities, right? I mean, that's something you pay every month as a fixed or somewhat variable bill every month. That's what I decided to do because I do have a 6-figure student loan debt. To see that large negative number isn't necessarily the greatest or the most motivating for me, at least. I know that it's there, and I pay on it faithfully every month. Thankfully, they are federal loans. So during this time of the pandemic, it was on 0% interest, and I was able to pay off all of my interest. So now all my money that I'm paying towards my student loans continually is going straight to the principal. But I do believe, I have faith that student loans or a portion of it will be forgiven one day. So with that, I consider a fixed monthly bill. I don't include it in my calculation for net worth. And that keeps me motivated to see that I now have a net worth of 22,748. And that includes, of course, the assets that I have. So my home, my car, my investments, and my savings. So with that, my total amount of assets is 191,555, while my liabilities against those assets are 168,807. So positive net worth I'm most proud of in 2020. Next, I was able to increase my Roth IRA contribution. So in 2019, I only was able to contribute $985. As you may know, if you're the age of 50, you're able to contribute as much as $6,000. And one day I'm going to work up to being able to max out my Roth IRA. But I'm happy to share that I have been incrementally growing it. And in 2020, I was able to grow my contribution by more than double. So I contribute $2,600. And of course, I still have time to add more money for 2020. You have until April 15th to continue to invest in your Roth IRA for that calendar year. I may do that. I'm still deciding if I wanted to make it straight to 2021 and see how much I can contribute from January to December. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted. And thirdly, I'm happy that I created an ABLE account for my son. And as I shared before in previous videos, ABLE accounts are tax advantage investment accounts for children with disabilities. It allows funds to grow outside of a UTMA for that child. Because typically with kids with disabilities, you cannot have assets more than $2,000 to receive aid, like Medicaid or other state services. But within the ABLE account, parents and loved ones of that child are able to invest up to $14,000 a year from that child up to the age of 26 for them to have as their lifetime support and income to pay for things like their education, their assistive technology needs, their transportation, their medical needs for healthcare. So it's just a wonderful, powerful account. I was able to contribute $800 to that ABLE account in 2020. And his UTMA, which I had bought and opened previously, I have bought some individual stocks in there. And those stocks have now grown to be about $600 in that account. So I'm very proud of those 3 milestones for me and for my baby. So next I'm going to just share my investment account performance. So in 2020, I have a 401k through my employer. That has 19%. It has grown for the performance of 2020. And the interesting thing about that account is I actually went with the company's managed 401k. So I'm not picking the funds that's within it. I'm letting them select which is what. And I'm glad I did because it grew by 19% performance-wise. On the Roth IRA, which I manage, and I will go into that more deeply in a future video, I have a hybrid of individual stocks with the goal of having high dividend paying stocks that have some potential growth to it as well. So I want some appreciation as well as income from the stocks that I've selected. I selected only 10. It took me a while to come down to what 10 stocks that I want to invest in for my dividend portfolio. So I may share some of that with you. And I also have some mutual funds, index funds in my Roth IRA. So with that mix of securities, it had a 13% performance. And my individual brokerage, which I started later on this year, as I just began investing in that, I believe it was in October and November, that ended with 7%. And for that, I have index funds as well. These are index funds focused on growth. So I have like large cap growth, mid cap growth, and so on, small cap growth for those investments in there. And so again, for my son's accounts, his ABLE performed at a 16%. So the ABLE account at the firm that I invest in, you are able to select a managed mutual fund portfolio that selects the stocks and the mutual funds within it. For him, I chose an aggressive growth-focused mutual fund. So it's 85% stocks, 15% bonds. And that performed very well, 16%. And his UTMA, probably because of his mom picked the stocks, it only performed at 6%. So overall, his accounts were 11% performance in 2020. Well, I thank you for watching. Tell me some of your money wins and milestones in 2020. These were a few of mine that I'm most happy and proud of. I look forward to reading more about yours in the comments and sharing my 2021 goals with you. So thank you. Have a wonderful day. Be blessed. Bye.